Hello, this is Barbara Bird with the League of Women Voters of Portland, and you are watching the video Voters Guide or listening to our podcast. We're here today to talk with a candidate who is running in the November 5th, 2024 general election. We're grateful for the support of the Carol and Velma Sailing Foundation, for the League of Women Voters Portland Education Fund, the Weiss Foundation, and our media partner, Metro East Community Media. With me today is Eli Arnold, who is running for the City of Portland Councilor, District 4, which includes part of Portland to the west of the Willamette River and a little bit of Southeast Portland. So welcome, Mr. Arnold. We're glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
So we'll start off with this question, just to tell us a little bit more about yourself and why you're running for this office.
Yeah, like you said, I'm Eli Arnold. I am a Selwood resident. I'm a father of four, a veteran, and I work as a bicycle cop. And that's really how I got into all of this. I've spent the last 7 years working with some of the crises that we've all been dealing with, in homeless camps every day, writing mental health holds on people, and getting them to unity, arresting fentanyl dealers. And I really, just felt like I was waiting for some structural aid from the city and its leadership. And, it didn't come. And I came to the conclusion that maybe, there's value in that sort of top-down policymaking view, but maybe the view from actually working where policy meets the road, sort of looking back at what could we design to make this easier, has some value too.
Okay, thank you. What are your ideas for working productively with other council members from your district?
My whole life, adult life, I've been working in lots of highly varied environments. And I've also always worked in traditionally conservative professions while being liberal myself. So from flying Afghan army soldiers to emergencies to, like I said, I specialize in mental health crisis interventions as a police officer. I work with people in kind of every possible mode and moment. And so it's kind of secondhand to me. And, I've been a Bernie Sanders delegate and a police officer. Like I'm happy to work with whoever. And I think everybody running pretty much has shared values. It's just figuring out the details.
Thank you. What, if any, actions would you consider taking to address the current concerns related to the critical energy infrastructure hub on the Willamette River?
I think the risk bonding is important. We have to help these companies internalize the risk. So we need to continue with that. We also need to offer incentives to get them to decommission unused tanks and get those out of there and start reducing the footprint in the area. And then I think just a simple, quick thing we can do is we need a specialized fire unit for dealing with any potential, smaller scale issues to make sure they don't cascade into disasters. And I think that's something that the city could easily address.
Thank you. You are listening to the video Voters Guide interview and podcast of Eli Arnold, who is running for the City of Portland Councilor position in District 4. All right, next question then, Mr. Arnold. Are you satisfied with the performance of the Joint Office of Homeless Services? And if not, what changes would you support? Please explain your answer.
I'm very dissatisfied with the progress. We're 9 years in, and we've seen no net reduction in people living on the street, despite large amounts of money spent. I've personally tried to get multiple people into shelter recently and have struggled to do so. And that's a problem. Like I work with this stuff. I should have an easier time of it than maybe somebody who's experiencing issues that have them on the street. And I still can't seem to get people into shelter when they need it. So we need to prioritize the first step, which is that emergency shelter, meeting that capacity demand. And we keep working on perfect, but let's get something in place immediately because, winter is coming and we need something available, even if it's not perfect. In fact, recently a woman I tried to get into shelter was rejected, and she ended up dying that week out on the streets. And we can't keep failing that way. And we don't have to. There's plenty of money available here to do this upfront thing.
Thank you. What skills, experience, and interests distinguish you from other candidates for this position?
I think it's the firsthand experience. In fact, I don't see any current members of City Council or the County Commission in homeless camps, despite this being everybody's number one issue. They haven't come to know the problem. I think I'm the only one writing mental health holds for Portland Street Response when they're out with somebody, or picking off fentanyl dealers. And I think that knowledge of the details and how all these systems interact at the ground level is going to be really helpful. I think one of the reasons we've struggled is we've tried writing policy from a remove, and it hasn't gained traction on the ground. And I think that knowledge will help us navigate the little details that make a good intention policy effective or not effective.
Thank you. Which, if any, strategies described in the draft 2024 Portland Housing Production Strategy could or would you support?
I think I support pretty much all of them. I think the critical piece, though, is the section on reforming permitting and zoning. Everybody I've talked to, the subsidized and the for-profit, all say that the system is far too difficult and takes far too long. And it doesn't matter what good intentions we have in the other parts for equity and for climate and all these other things. If there's not carpenters framing walls, we're not making any progress. So we need to really make it easier to do the work we want people to do.
Thanks. And on what council committees would you like to serve?
I think public safety and housing are the two most important things the city's facing right now. And I think both of them, they both have a certain capacity for being controversial. And I think one of the things that I would like to offer is a willingness to put myself in uncomfortable positions. I was a military officer with multiple years in combat, and I know that leadership is not supposed to be comfortable, and you can't make everybody happy, but you're given the privileged position because you're going to figure out a path forward, convince people to come along with you. And you can't make progress without some risk, without some discomfort. So I would like to get right into the thick of it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Arnold. We appreciate you being with us today. This concludes our video voters guide and podcast interview of the League of Women Voters of Portland of Eli Arnold, who's running for Portland City Council District 4. If you would like to find additional election resources, Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. Let's start with the important thing. To find additional resources, please visit the League of Women Voters of Portland's website. It's lwvpdx.org. And then exercise your right to vote. Your voice matters. Thank you for your interest.